Welcome back, everyone. And we are kicking off the Williams County series that I've been so anxious to do. And, growing up here, it's been a lot of really hard facts to have to swallow and deal with. There's a lot of really terrible things that are happening when it comes to domestic violence and abuse and CPS. And today we're going to be diving into the topic of CPS. For those of you who have been keeping up with my Facebook, you already know all the drama we've got going on with Judge Gallagher and some attorneys and all sorts of fun stuff. So today I have Brandon and Maria with me, and they had come to me for help a while back in regards to a CPS case, and the way that things have unfolded was quite horrifying. So we're going to dive in and we're going to go from there. Hi, Brandon and Maria. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi.
So tell me a little bit about the backstory with how did all of this come about?
Brandon used to be a truck driver, and during his time truck driving, he was going on a couple job interviews. He had moved here not that long ago from the time that this had all started, and this had happened in September of 2023. Brandon had left his son with a babysitter, which was a friend of his. The babysitter ended up leaving Brandon's son alone. Well, Brandon had trusted this babysitter because the babysitter had watched his son multiple times and there was never any issues. All of a sudden, this one particular time, the babysitter goes and says, "Oh, well, I have a doctor's appointment." And then Brandon had communicated with the babysitter, like, "Okay, give me a couple hours. I can see if I can get someone there to get you before your doctor's appointment." And there was a text, I'm not quite sure at what time in the morning, but it was early morning, saying that Brandon's son was left alone by this babysitter. And because Brandon was the parent responsible for much at the time and was living with him, Job and Family Services goes, "Well, this is abuse." So they try to say, "Oh, well, we're going to safety plan him because, the child was left alone," but then try to say, "Oh, well, this is Brandon's fault that he was left alone."
So now, was he charged?
He was not. The babysitter was charged.
Right. And he was prosecuted, right?
That we know. We have court paperwork stating that there was consequences. We're not sure if it was jail time or if it was a fine. It didn't really specify at the time that we had that paperwork. But in that time period, we did get paperwork saying he was either going to receive between 60 to 90 days in jail or a fine of a certain amount.
So that tells me that they realized that there was actions that were taken that were wrong, and they charged and successfully prosecuted the guilty party.
Yes, that is correct.
It's just crazy to me that CPS has the power and authority that they do to just come in and uproot somebody's life and just completely take over with no legal grounds to do such.
So in their Job and Family Services paperwork, they had tried to say multiple different things, like an array of different things. And first they tried to say his home was dirty. And then they tried to say he had drug paraphernalia, which that was never true. And
I read that paperwork as well, so I'm going to interject right here on this part. It actually said specifically in the paperwork that it was loose leaf tobacco. There was tobacco that was found. There was no mention of any other specific drug, only that there was tobacco.
That is correct, yes. And with that, they also had tried to say that he had no furniture, and Brandon had told them, "Hey, I am moving. I don't have plans to have my child here." Well, at that time, Job and Family Services had made it a big deal. Well, he didn't have furniture, and there's garbage bags everywhere, and there's garbage all over the house, and there's clothes all over the house. But Brandon had literally told them, "Hey, I'm moving." And we also have proof that at that time he had addressed to a couple of different people, "Hey, I am moving. Can I have help? Or, for example, a different party in all of this as well. He had said, hey, you need to come get your stuff. I have your stuff here. I'm moving. And that was addressed multiple times throughout the court case and throughout the beginning, as in, hey, I don't plan on having him here. We are going to move. And that has been said since the very beginning.
Yet they still used that as grounds, because from my understanding, because, like I said, I read all of the reports as well. And this is all public information now as well, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But when you read the report and you see all of the faults that they are holding against you and using as grounds for the removal, it's all petty, stupid shit. Like, all of it is just petty, stupid shit. The dirty house, the, stuff's thrown about, no food, no furniture, place is a mess. I mean, if you want to show me somebody who has the ability to move without having things look like a hot mess for a minute, then my goodness, more power to you. But I don't know of anybody. I've moved more times than I would like to admit. And it's a hot mess trying to move and trying to get stuff clean. And for you to have the evidence that you have that that's what was occurring, and then for them to turn around and use that as grounds for, oh, well, we're going to separate you from your child. That's just a horrifying thought.
It was at first pretty bad. I know Brandon had a lot of nights where he was just dumbfounded. He beats himself up quite a bit for it. He's like, man, I don't understand how I let this happen. He says he wished that circumstances were different leading up to what's going on right now. And there's been a lot of nights that he's like, I wish things were more transparent or more fixable at the time, but due to the fact that he was out of state and he had left his child with the babysitter, he was not able to address those problems at the time, because he was like, well, I need to find some way to get to Ohio quick because they're trying to take my kid. So he had called his parents, and his parents were living in Florida at the time, and he had called his parents and said, hey, Mom, Dad, I'm in Chicago right now. Can you come and get me? I need to get to my son as soon as possible. And within how many hours was your parents there? The amount of time?
A few hours, because they were at that time they was in Toledo in an RV at Maumee State Bay. So they drove from our Maumee State Bay in Toledo to Chicago. I think it was roughly 3 hours, give or take. And I got back there that same night, I think 6, 7 o'clock at night.
But there was somebody else who went and picked him up sooner.
Yeah, Karen did, which is a family friend, which is who had him as I guess you would say, a safety plan.
So in this state of panic, he had managed to go from Chicago and come back to Ohio to see what was going on. He had managed to find a suitable person that was able to care for his son. And he was able to do drug testing and everything within the next day after that Job and Family Services had came to his home to remove his child.
Right. The following day, they gave him a drug test, which he passed, by the way. And there have been multiple drug tests, it's insane how many drug tests these folks have made them take. And they have both passed every single one.
So
that kind of blew their whole drug scheme out of the water. But yet here we are.
So in his case, to the point, in my personal opinion, if he was able to find a ride to get to his child, was able to find someone that he knew and trusted to be able to take his child at the time while they did the safety plan, to do their investigation, and try to come home within the same amount of time, to be there within reasonable hours, to be able to get everything done to make sure his child was safe, in my personal opinion, I mean, that would be responsible. That's all we want for our kids, is for them to be loved and for them to be safe. What had happened from there? They had him from Karen. And I'm not quite sure what court date at the time, but I know he was removed from Karen's care because of a deer, which she has a license for wildlife. And the state of Ohio literally states that certain vaccines can only be given to certain animals as per county code. So a deer is one of those animals that you have to call local veterinarian's office. And if the local veterinarian's office says, hey, we can't give them these vaccines, then that's to discretion of the county under the state of Ohio. And that's in the Ohio Wildlife Guide.
So it wasn't even like illegal. There wasn't even anything that she was doing wrong by Ohio's own guidelines.
No.
Yet they used that as grounds to take that child out of kinship.
Yep. They said because there was a wild deer living in the home and that they needed to pick whether they wanted the deer or his son there. And they said, well, look, we're not keeping this deer long term. We're not planning to keep it the full time. But in a sense, like, we have this deer domesticated. We have had it since it was a baby. We know it's not going to cause any harm to him. And we spoke to the veterinarian's office and we cannot get the vaccines for it.
Right.
So that same court date, they told his kid, hey, bud, we got a present for you. Come with us. And coming out of that court case, we didn't get to see him after that.
The foster parents said that?
I don't recall. I believe it was the Job and Family Services
Family
caseworker.
Service didn't have the foster parents.
Okay, yes. They were, the foster parents were not involved at the time. It was Job and Family Services. And I believe it was our caseworker. And her name was Josie Breitzel at the time. But they had said, hey, bud, we have a present for you. And they had already had these foster parents like lined up so you could go right at court. Mind you, they live between like 15 to 30 minutes away from us. We're not, but they live a little bit of a distance, not where they could be like, hey, come here now. And then they're like, okay, yeah, we'll be there in 30 seconds.
So they live in Defiance, correct?
Yes.
So with us being in Bryan, for anybody listening who doesn't know, Defiance is probably about 20-25 minutes, give or take a little bit, depending on what part of town you're going to and from. So it's a bit of a drive. So these facts, leave you really no option but to recognize and realize that they already had this planned out. They already had everything on lockdown to where this is what they want to see happen. The foster parents were already made aware that they were going to be taking custody of this child before court was even finished, because for them to have arrived at the courthouse before court was done, with that being a 20-minute plus drive, there's no other way for it to have went down any other way. So here we start with the colluding.
So at that time, we had just realized that they took him. And when we realized what had gone on, I had explained to Brandon, I had said, Brandon, I'm pretty sure they just put your son in foster care. He was very distraught. He was very hurt. He was very upset. And that's where a lot of like the beating himself up came in. The, oh my gosh, I should have just taken him. Oh my gosh, there could have been a lot of things that could have been avoided. Like, I automatically knew that he was genuinely hurt, because it was to the point where he was like, well, this is all my fault. This is all my fault. And I had to tell him for a point, no, this is not your fault. You had left him with someone who you had thought was responsible enough to care for him during this time, and they weren't. Because what had happened was this person had cared for him multiple times before, and this person was very close friends with him. So he was very familiar with Mateo. He knew Mateo very well. He knew like everything that was going on with him. Brandon and Mateo hung out quite a bit. They were buddies. Brandon and the babysitter were friends. And he thought, like, hey, I know this person. He's good with my son. He's a good friend of mine. He's watched him many a times before. From his point of view, in my personal opinion, speaking on his point of view, he thought he was a responsible person.
Thought you did all the right things. How is anybody supposed to know, what somebody else is thinking or planning or going to do? That's not... I'm assuming that's why he was arrested and charged and not Brandon. That's, the facts of the case and the evidence of the case. It is what it is. So there was also an issue with a phone. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So on that phone, with that part, I am not quite sure 100% what had happened with it. We are getting mixed stories now from the beginning. We are not sure if a police officer had given him that phone, if he had found that phone, or if the babysitter had given him the phone. There was
is Karen, from what I know, I spoke with Karen at the courthouse, and she told me that she saw a police officer give him the phone. So that's just what I heard. That's what she told me. But
me at the time, I personally, to be honest with you, I would personally not know because I was not at the scene when that had happened. That's why I had made the disclosure. I'm not sure who had given him the phone, but I do know that the contents of the phone had very explicit photos and videos that are very graphic and something that you can only really see on OnlyFans, I hate to say, of his mother. They had taken the phone, I believe, from the kid, and like I'm not sure who had taken the phone from the child. I believe Karen had said she had it at one point and had given it to a lawyer or a police officer, but Karen had given it to somebody, and Job and Family Services at one point had even told Brandon, you need to just give it back to the dad or get rid of it. So they like try to hide the fact that this phone ever existed.
Which you would think it's evidence. You would think that it would be collected and treated as such. So once that all came to light, of course, naturally, CPS jumped all over that and then got to use that and throw that in the mix of being a reasoning why they were, continuing their involvement and such. So you would think that they would take that evidence a little bit more seriously. And the phone just disappeared.
Yep. As of right now, I don't know if anyone knows where the phone is or what had happened to the phone or what the contents of the phone are. Last we had knew there were multiple people at the Job and Family Services Agency who had seen that cell phone, and there was even a specific caseworker who had spoke to my grandmother, which was a kinship placement for the children, and even had said, I've seen much more of that woman than what I have liked to see, because of the explicit imaging on the phone. And at that time, when they had the phone, and in court, Job and Family Services try to say, oh, well, you had the mother living with, which is a biological mother. I am stepmother. Brandon is my father, but the biological mother did have a bag of her items there. And
which text messages showed that Brandon tried repeatedly to reach out to her to have her pick up her bag of belongings, being that he was moving.
That is correct, yes. He had texted her and stuff, I know, a couple times and said, hey, can you come get your stuff? I'm going to be moving soon. Like, you need to come get it. I can try to drop it off. I can do something with it. Just like come and get it. But at the time, Job and Family Services said press, well, her stuff is there, so she lives there. But if you look at the lease on who's legally on the lease, it was just Brandon and his son.
So so this part can be a little bit on the confusing side. So there are 4 children that are involved in this case, and the case with is what initiated the whole thing. So Brandon has another daughter that's a couple years younger, and then at that time, you, Maria, had your 2-year-old daughter as well. So they still remained in your care, remained in your custody, correct?
Yes. So while all of this was going on, Job and Family Services had knew, and I had asked them multiple times, will this affect my daughter? And that same caseworker, that Josie Reitzel, had said, no, it's not going to affect your daughter, none of that. And they had knew that something had came up with Brandon, or I don't know if there was some type of collusion at that time, but at that time when Brandon had moved in with me, they had knew that I was my daughter's primary caretaker and that my 2-year-old daughter, well, my now 2-year-old daughter, was residing with me. At the time, my daughter had just turned 1, and they were aware that she was residing with me here in my home in Bryan. And they said, no, this won't affect your daughter. This won't affect anything. So from the time of November 1st, from when he moved in, to January 11th, from when my daughter got safety planned, they were in the care of me. Brandon's daughter had came around Christmas time. Job and Family caseworker had knew. They had been to my home. They were aware. And they knew the children were living with us.
But then all of a sudden they turn around and, oh my gosh, you have other kids? Well, we're going to have to take them too.
Yep. So what had happened was Brandon had called to see if his daughter was able to get visitation with her brother. And that was, I believe, January 8th. And at the time, they're like, well, I have my daughter. I don't have anyone to watch her. Can she come to visitation with me and the son? And the caseworker goes, wait, there's more kids? Oh, well, she shouldn't be in the home. We were like, okay. So within that time, this is where everything is really, really messed up. Within that time, and we weren't aware of this, they had said that Brandon's son had stated that Brandon had punched him in the head. A day right before they had safety planned these children. These children, Brandon's son had had an allegation that his father had punched him in the head on January 10th of 2024.
But now where was that at?
They claim that that was at a visitation. To our
Now-
knowledge, they just bluntly said, oh, well, he stated that his father punched him in the head.
Now, these visitations are supervised, correct?
They were supervised, yes.
Now, was that out at Shalom or at Adriel?
That was at Shalom.
Okay, so there's allegations that come out that Brandon punched his son in the head at a supervised visitation with professionals. And who is it that came forward and made that accusation?
I believe it was a foster mother. At the time, I believe it was a foster mother. I do know that that exact same caseworker, Josie Reitzel, had said that there was an allegation made of physical abuse, that Brandon had punched his son in the head. Then they go and say, okay, he punched him in the head. So because he punched him in the head and he physically abused him, Maria, that puts your daughter at risk too. And that puts his other child at risk. Plus his other child is already removed. So, I mean, we might as well remove the rest of them. So the allegation was made January 10th, and the children were safety planned with the kinship placement at the time, which they normally, it's really weird, and I'm grateful they did it. They had safety planned Brandon's daughter to my grandmother, even though she wasn't direct kin to her. She has no relation to her, anything at the time she did. Now this is her step great grandmother. So at that time, they had said, okay, you know what? The one female child was placed with my grandmother as a kinship placement, and then my daughter was placed with my grandma as a kinship placement. And from January 11th to about February, let's give or take between the 20th to 27th, at that time they were with Lori. So in the middle of February, Job and Family Services had called. Hey, we did our investigation. You can go pick up your kids from Lori. And I told Brandon, I'm like, wait, I told him from the beginning, I said, I think this is a setup, because they don't automatically do this. And I had told my grandmother, who was a kinship placement, they're giving us our girls back. And she's like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, Williams County Department of Job and Family Services called and said, we're getting our girls back. At that time, we get the girls back. We're like, okay, we get the girls back. So the girls were safety planned, and they were safety planned with me, with Brandon in the home, knowing there was allegations of physical abuse. We had two small children. At the time, they were both one. We had two small children that were completely dependent on us while they knew this physical abuse was supposedly happening, because I mean, we have multiple things that shows they never even tried to investigate it. They were just like, yeah, physical abuse, and continued to run to the hills with it. In that time, they were kinship placed with me. And it was to the point that I was supposed to have protective supervision of these children. So for a whole entire month, those children were placed with me in my care, back in my home, the same home that they had just removed them from on January 11th. This is the Department of Job and Family Services. So we go to court, and I believe it was the initial appearance for Brandon's daughter that Job and Family Services had said, oh, well, the two younger girls are back with parents. And the judge goes, wait, what? Wait a minute. And they're like, yeah, the two younger children are back with the parents. And the judge goes, well, the children should have been removed because the other child is removed. The other child's not in the home. So, like, those children were never supposed to be given back.
So just to make sure, I just want to make sure that we make this clear. The only reason why these other two children were removed from the home is simply because the other child was already removed, and there were allegations that, well, no, because they had finished their investigation, and that's why they gave them back to you. That's just like everything about it is just crooked. Nothing about it makes any sense. I mean, they finished the investigation, they give you back the 2 girls, but they don't give you back the little boy. But then they turn back around and, oh, well, we're going to pretend like this case is still open and all this stuff is still a plausibility. So the judge says, nope, time to take those girls back away again.
Yep. And at the time, I mean, there was an incident on our part. The children were not harmed, but there was a point where the children did have the protective supervision with me, and Brandon had went to get his ex from Columbus because he had thought that maybe if she was around, she could help resolve the problem. She's the mother of his children, and he didn't want her not be a part of her kids' life. No parent wants to alienate the other parent just because they have issues. So Brandon had thought, well, maybe if I pick up my ex, maybe she could try to help me. And within that time period, I don't remember which day. At that time, the child was gone and taken to Columbus to pick up his dog. And my daughter was with her paternal grandmother at the time, which we had continued our visitation because, we weren't told to not do so otherwise. And I was working, and Job and Family Services was aware. And at the time that had happened, I had influenza B. I was extremely sick. Anyone who knows me knows that I am diabetic. Not only diabetic, I am also have issues with being quite ill. I have real bad sickness. It's hard. When I am sick, I have to sleep because I have a suppressed immune system. So at that time, I really wasn't aware that he had taken his daughter. And that was the incident that we knew of. But from my understanding, the court wasn't even made aware at that time. The court and I were all made aware, I believe, at the same time. I was literally in bed because I could not move because I had influenza from the child that was in foster care. And I beat myself up every day for it too. If I were to just be awake a little longer or something, then maybe circumstances could have been different. But
who would stop to think that something as minute like that would be so big of a problem that you have to worry about them taking your kids back out of your household for going and picking somebody up for a car ride?
Well, they had stated that he could not be alone with his kids at all from the jump. They did not want him around his kids from the beginning. And they were like, well, he can't be around his kids. He can't even be in the car with them. He can't even be in the same room with them unless you're there. So if I go to take a shower, I would have to have the kids in their cribs. That way I was able to hear them because of how my bathroom and my shower is located. Honestly, part of my grudge even to take a fucking shit. And the way they made it seem is he is such this horrible, dangerous monster. And he's such this horrible, dangerous person. And the part of all of this, they hear our part of the story, but it feels like it's just falling on deaf ears. They hear our part while they also sit and ignore just about everything we say. Yes, we are human. Yes, we do have slip-ups. Every parent does. But we beat ourselves up every single day for the mistakes we've made throughout this. And we tried to do better. And we did. And it came to the point where it's just you've done everything we asked you to. We don't have anything more to do. But we're going to continue to invade your privacy. We're going to continue to come to your home. We're going to continue to harass you and make you suffer and make you cry and call you emotionally unstable because we don't want to hear it from you. We don't. But we want to make sure you suffer enough. Job and Family Services don't care if your kids are traumatized. I had gotten told from my stepdaughter's grandmother that after everything had happened, when they had gotten removed from that kinship placement at the beginning, recently, that she would have night terrors and start crying in the middle of the night. But I think any 2-year-old child would if they had 2 to 3 police officers, plus almost every single grandparent involved in this, because it was my grandmother, which is the children's great-grandmother. It was my aunt was there, both of Brandon's parents were there. My daughter's grandparents were there, along with 2 to 3 caseworkers and 2 to 3 police officers. They see their grandmother
scary
crying.
Situation for a kid. Absolutely.
Yeah. they see their grandmother crying. And I mean, we're such these horrible people, right? That my 2-year-old daughter went to console my grandmother. It's okay, Gigi. Don't cry, Gigi. Just breathe. Just breathe. And she does anytime she sees anybody cry. It's okay. Just breathe. Just breathe. Like, that's just how the kids are. They have empathy. They have love for people. But, like, they can't have that if we didn't give them love or empathy. They
Right.
wouldn't understand what love and empathy even are if we didn't teach them that as their parents. I mean, yes, we did have help, but our main support systems were our children's grandparents. We might have messed up once or twice. Yes, we will admit that.
What parent doesn't? I mean, you're only human. You can only do so much. I mean, you're bound to make mistakes. It kind of comes with the territory of life. But for such minute things to be an issue and for them to use these stupid, petty things as grounds to tear apart a family. When you look at, the laws and such, when it comes to removals, shit like this is exactly why Congress came down so hard several years ago when they were, redoing a bunch of the laws and such and involving all of the CPS type sort of stuff. And they, flat out said on multiple different occasions, they went out of their way to make it very clear that no child should be removed from their home unless they are in imminent danger. Now, imminent danger means if we don't take this child out and get this child safe, some very serious harm and or death may happen. Those are the only times that, they're supposed to be even interjecting themselves to that level to where they're removing children at all. Yet again, here we are.
So, but after we got past the mistake, then the children's biological mother had came in. And once she came in, everything just went downhill. There were more allegations that came up. Once again, glory and behold, we went to court. She wanted an amended case plan. We had gotten an amended case plan to include her to the case plan because she was MIA from like September to about March. She was MIA. And I don't know if they had contact with her and just didn't say anything or what the case really was. She was on this child's initial safety plan, on her children's initial safety plan for her son. But me and Brandon here were for the other children as their caretakers and stuff. And we were on the safety plans for all the kids. But all of a sudden, April rolls around and she wants an amended case plan. Well, at the time, Brandon and her were in the process of going through divorce. And from that time they were in the process of going through divorce, the mother also is pregnant. So then the mother comes back saying, oh, well, I'm pregnant. This is Brandon's baby. And the court's like, oh, but Brandon's with this Maria girl. Yeah, he got his wife pregnant. What the hell's going on? They spent this whole time, well, that was Brandon's baby. Thinking, oh, well, this is your baby. Your wife said it was your baby. Somewhere they had said that Brandon had said that it was his baby. And they had just said like a couple times that there were a couple different things that, oh, well, this could be this and this could be that. But for the most part, they thought it was Brandon's baby.
Now, were they divorced already at this point?
So they were not divorced at this point. The divorce was already filed, but due to the fact of the custody case pending, the divorce case had gotten pushed out. It had took them almost a full complete year to divorce.
But she was with somebody, she was dating somebody else at the time as well.
Yes, that is correct. And she was dating somebody way before I had even met Brandon, because I had seen her with that person multiple times before I even met Brandon. I didn't even know who Brandon was because, like, I never seen him around or with that person. All I know is we became friends. We hit it off pretty good. And next thing you know, one thing led to another and we started dating. But, like, she was with a whole nother person. And then, like, in the beginning, too, they say, oh, well, there's sexual abuse allegations. That was disclosed October 13th. So they had like jumped back and forth from these sexual abuse allegations because they had tried to say something around January about it. And that's
what that also came because I read the police report on that. And
that did come from the foster mother. Yes.
That came from all these accusations came from the foster mother.
So at the same time, they had claimed that his son had said he punched him in the head. So there was the allegation. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. And they're going back to January. There were allegations of sexual abuse. And the funny thing was, at that time, it was the same time the abuse of the physical abuse went and was supposedly made a report of. So he had noticed that they were trying to say that there was a sexual abuse allegation. No one had got any details. No one had knew anything about this. But all of a sudden in January, it comes back that this child was supposedly sexually molested in October of 2023. And the exact date that they have on that police report was October 13th of 2023. And this is allegations from a foster parent
who didn't even get involved in the case until what, the beginning of December, end of November, beginning of December.
End of November, beginning.
Yet they know what happened in October.
She claims that the child, the 4-year-old child at the time, had disclosed that this had happened to him.
And I'm sure a 4-year-old child knows, oh yeah, it was October 13th. That's what day it was.
Well, at the beginning of all of this, he knew like 3 or 4 people as dad. All the adults were mommies and daddies because that's what he was used to his mommy. He was used to his daddy because he would go back and forth between his mother and his father. So when he went to the foster parents, he's calling the foster father daddy, and he's calling the mother's boyfriend daddy. And he is also referring to his father as daddy. And all of a sudden, I mean, there's very graphic and gruesome stories there. I don't want to disclose all of it due to the fact that it could be a really severe trigger warning to some people. But the amount of detail that it had was like very scary. And honestly, I had showed you about it. And in my personal opinion, I wouldn't doubt that it came from a Law and Order case. Because there's an exact thing that happens in Law and Order where these 4-year-old children are making very graphic and explicit remarks about something a teacher did instead of a father. And even on a fictional TV show that is based off of true stories, they even say, well, how can a 4-year-old depict the difference between reality and fantasy? That the line between reality and fantasy blurs, which for a 4-year-old child, it does.
Well, especially a 4-year-old child that just months prior to that had watched an unknown amount of inappropriate content involving his mom.
Yep. So they had said that his dad had did something to him. Even though we have also another text message from the previous caregiver in November when they had tried to initially bring something up. They had let him know in November that something was said about it. But they didn't even pursue any legal action or went to the police or had a report until January 10th. And yet this happened October 13th.
Well, I mean, they're also legally required to immediately report something like that, whether it be the foster care provider or CPS, whoever it may be. It's all the same shit. You are legally required to immediately report it to law enforcement.
So, like, I was in a case very similar, and there were checks. There were medical and physical checks done to us. And, like, me and my siblings are very traumatized by that. And that's part of the reason why we're being targeted. It really is. At least my family is. But we asked, once this came out, I'm like, well, how do you know this is true? How do you know this isn't corrosion? Because at the beginning, I started asking questions of like, well, how is this true? We have no other person saying this other than the foster parent. The child at the time when we were seeing him didn't have any type of anything really going on to our knowledge. He didn't seem hypersexual. He didn't seem like overreactive towards different people. I mean, at first he was a little shy, but that's just his general personality. When he meets someone new, like he's like, okay, I don't know this person too much. I'm going to stray away, as any child would, because we teach our kids to stay away from strangers. Other than that, once he gets to know you, he's like a very open bubble. That he will tell everybody's business in 5 seconds if you let him. I guarantee it. And he had never said anything to me, someone completely different from his dad and wasn't there with him at this time, he didn't say, oh, my daddy did this to me.
Well, I think that's one of the hardest things that I have found about this case for me. I mean, you've got this little boy who was in the care of two different family friends, correct, before going to foster care, or was it just Karen?
So he was just with Karen.
Okay. So he was with Karen. He was with you. I'm sure he spent a lot of times with the grandparents. And then he's had 2 different counselors and like all these people, all these safe people in his life. And the only person he talks to about this just so happens to be the foster mom who he barely knows and just met, but that's who he opens up to and goes into extensive detail as a 4-year-old. Like, I don't think so.
And that's what, like, I was getting to, because like I said, as a child of abuse, I had went through this. I had went through this procedure. I mean, I was already a lot older. So, I mean, I already knew the questions to start asking because, like I had told my now husband, Brandon, I've gone through this. There's certain procedures they need to follow to make sure that this is legit or not.
Well, especially with the claims. I mean, I know we're not trying to like go into extensive detail, but it was extensive.
Yes.
And it would have been enough to, had that incident occurred as it was accused, there would absolutely be some sort of damage and or scarring.
And that's what I had start explaining to like the caseworkers. I'm like, well, if this had happened, why was there no medical checks? Why was this child not taken to the hospital? Why is the father not given charges? Like, if this had really happened, why are these procedures not being done? Because, I mean, in my own personal experience, I was old enough to remember, unfortunately. I was about 10 years old, and I mean, I watched me and my siblings go through it, each and every one of us. And at the time, we just get told, oh, well, we did our investigation. We took him to a soft room, a fucking soft room, with the amount of detail that was put in and the explicitory claim that was also made. This child could have had permanent scarring. He could have had internal damages. He could have been bleeding. He could, for all we know, he could have been bleeding from inside out, given his age and the nature of the content that was being said. And he was never taken to an emergency room. We've asked for medical records multiple times on this. Oh, well, we didn't do one. Oh, well, there's different procedures done. Oh, well, there's different protocol for us and the police. I mean, if
I don't
knew they could rape kids, I mean, they'd do it.
Right. And I don't give a fuck what protocol you've got. A kid, any child makes an accusation like that. The first thing you do is get them medically checked. The first thing you should do. And I know one of their excuses was, oh, it could be traumatizing. Well, so can't being SA'd. You know, I mean, if that's really what you think, if that's really what you believe, then I don't know. I myself, you know, as a parent and as an advocate, just as a human being, you know, I mean, that should have been the first thing that was done. And the fact that they fought it so hard raises even more questions, because there were multiple different people in your family, including both of you, who asked on multiple different occasions, look, this, you know, there needs to be some sort of an exam if, you know, this is going to be, you know, held against somebody. Right. I mean, and that's another thing too. That's kind of the part of the process with an investigation. How are you supposed to investigate something like that if there's no investigation? And then on top of that, then you also have the fact that in the police report, the police did a forensics exam or a forensic interview, and he said no. The little boy said no, that never happened.
Yeah, he said
so.
No.
Like, you know, like, I mean, what do you even say at that point? You know, I mean, it's got to feel like they're just creating this narrative and doing and saying anything they can to try to force and push that narrative.
Well, that's like one thing I mean, you heard everything, you know, the extent. I have gotten on them multiple times. If this is true, then why hasn't nothing been done? And now they keep saying, oh, well, now it's too late. The thing is, if it was done, and the fact that now it's too late, there would still be permanent scarring.
Oh, absolutely.
And they said,
Absolutely.
oh, well, there's not that or anything else. And I'm like, so how would you
I didn't
know
realize
it's
they
not
had their
gonna be
medical
done?
degree. They have
Yeah.
a medical degree?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
fancy.
guess so. Doctorate
Job,
in
JFS.
stupidity. I mean, that's about it.
Just
But
ignorant. They're all like, God, the level of incompetence is just absolutely mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. And the fact that they have the ability to destroy people's lives like this and not have to back it up. I mean, legally they have to back it up. They're supposed to legally, I mean, you have to have hard evidence, like undeniable, indisputable evidence that yes, this is what's happening and this is what needs to be done to keep this child safe.
well, like at that point, when I had at the beginning, at that time, and towards the beginning of this, I had really expressed my concerns on it because I started dabbling into reading the Ohio Revised Code on that. And in the Ohio Revised Code, it specifically states that when something like that is disclosed, a child needs to be taken to the emergency room within 24 hours of the incident being disclosed. There needs to be an examination done to see if this is done. They have 45 days to investigate it. And within that 45 days, if they feel like they need more time, then before the 45-day mark, they need to go into court to file an extension to get an additional couple days added to make it to a 90-day investigation. So all of a sudden, something that turned into getting done in 24 hours turned into getting done in 45 days and then nothing being told then. And now it's almost a 2-year long thing based off just that. And the funny thing is they think we're dumb about it. But like
the case was closed out. I mean, even the police department found zero grounds. Obviously they didn't think, he wasn't charged.
The police had even said, like, no, man, we weren't going to go and question you. We didn't think anything like that had happened. All he said was he was scared of the dark. He said he's scared of monsters and he's scared of the dark. But I mean, any 4-year-old.
Video. Get out here. There.
Okay, they're both on duty, so he's gonna call in, fill in now, talk to you guys,
Okay.
and then part of your site.
He's gonna come out to talk about that. Okay, all right, thank you.
4-year-old. Any 4 to like even 10-year-olds. Check under my bed. There's a monster. I'm scared of the dark. Oh, I don't like the dark.
Now, at this point in time, did you, with that specific instance, did you have court coming up soon, right before that accusation?
At that time, I believe we did. I don't remember the exact date. I believe it might have been actually January 24th.
Because I know from my going through the records and such, there were it was awfully convenient that
it was
seemed
right
like
before court.
yeah, like every time
every
almost,
time.
like every allegation just so happened to come out just a couple of weeks before the next court hearing. Like
sometimes with even in a matter of days. And then
that's just way too
had to
convenient.
explain that to our previous caseworker. Her name was Amanda, and we had told her multiple times, like, well, ain't it a little weird that like these always come out before court? Doesn't that have you thinking? And she's like, well, we can't control when they come out. No, but you could look and see what's actually going on to see if this is real or not.
Well, I mean, and all the visitations are supervised by professionals. I mean,
and the funny
like,
thing
it's
is
literally not even possible for half of this stuff to have taken place. And even with the accusations of, being hit, and there were a couple of other, random accusations throughout the supervised visits and such. But you have a recording of the supervisor from those visits talking with, was it the guardian ad litem or was it the caseworker? I don't remember which one.
Which
the recording
what were they
where
saying in it?
The recording where Heather was there.
Heather didn't have any there in the court.
No, it was at your house. There was a recording from they had come to your house.
What was the caseworker?
Oh, probably caseworker.
I was to say, I think it was the caseworker. Like you had an appointment with the caseworker, and then Heather ended up showing up with the kids, I believe. Or no, your grandma showed up at the same time, around the same time. Like there was like a supervised visit that day or something.
So we did do something called
what it was, but
That would have been the GAO at that time.
that might have been the guardian ad litem. So, like, yeah, even with the guardian ad litem, she came to our house during a visit and said, yeah, no, I have no concerns with their home. And they seem to have done very well with it, and I have no concerns of their home. But we're going to keep them in foster care.
This is the safety plan, the date of the safety plan. Would this be right? September 11th, 23? Is it going to be right?
I'm not quite sure when they did it.
Yeah, I don't think there's together, isn't it?
That's the
No.
safety plan for just.
Oh, okay.
Wait, no, that's
I wasn't included in that one.
That was for
That's
just.
Yeah, I wasn't included.
Wow.
That
Oh,
might
that's safety
actually.
plan. That's a safety
He has
plan.
a tail. Yeah.
That might actually be
He
right.
swings it. I know. He's very strong.
Isn't that where you go to the agency and have a meeting and all that? When they do
The
that?
safety plan, no, it's when they in a sense say, well, you can't
Initiate
be
it.
with your kids,
Oh,
and they're gonna
okay.
come in here, and.
When did first go into a safety plan? Is it this right here?
Yeah.
Of 2023?
Does
Oh,
it say
that's,
goes?
yeah, last year when it
yeah.
first got
Just
taken.
September?
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause that's when the safety plan, and she had, Deanna had said that it would only be like a month or two,
Oh,
and
be
then
careful.
whatever it was, and then all of a sudden there was,
Yeah,
these
where's
allegations
Mommy's there?
that
Where's
came out,
Mommy's there?
and
Where's Mommy's there?
That was
and then
done,
those,
and then-
these went away.
then,
Her side
right,
is
that one
just
was
like
from,
yours. Just like
when I
that.
asked to take, her, and then also, I believe, I also asked to take, the
Good job,
boys
not in the face.
with me
And
to
this Gigi
the
out by
visitations
Dusty.
at Shalom. When I
They
first
call me
started, I was at
Dusty
Shalom.
Crusty Dinosaur.
So they could see their brother, and then all of a sudden, was it Josie said, no, you're not supposed to have any children, something, and then they were like,
Are
they
you talking
took
about what
Mateo, yeah,
happened?
when then they and emergency took him to the police department
That
and
I
put him
remember, because that I was with you. So that had
There wasn't a whole
happened.
lot until then, and when
Yeah.
it started.
So with that, that's when they brought into it to begin with. At
Yeah,
that
in
time
December.
too. So what happened was, we had explained to our old caseworker, her name was Josie Reitzel.
Okay. Where are we in the timeline?
This is in January. This would
December,
be,
January.
I
What
mean,
did-
I'm sorry.
January is when they took the kids, Brandon.
But she's talking about Mateo right now.
Mateo's case safety plan
Yeah, September
is September
23.
of 23.
The original.
So, and then these allegations were never substantiated.
There was nothing until
nothing.
December.
There was nothing said until,
I think that was December, wasn't it?
This says
Court.
January 10th of 2024.
Okay, so it was
Yes.
in the, it was
but
in
they
the,
said
it
they
was the end
disclosed
of
it October
December, that's when
13th
the,
of 2023.
Where do you see that?
So that one would be in one of the safety plans.
Okay.
Give me one moment.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
They had said that taken in September.
Who said that he disclosed it, or who disclosed it? In
Job and Family Services has it written in their safety plan that had disclosed that his father would
To the foster parents.
To his
You don't have to say
kinship
it. You don't have
placement.
to say it in front of the girls. Okay.
To his kinship placement at the time. He was with the
He was
kinship
some-
placement
Okay.
before he was in foster care.
Got it. Okay.
And he had disclosed it to his kinship placement at the time.
Okay. And then subsequent to that, the foster parents, this is made by the
Yes.
foster
So,
mom. She went to the police and made this report. And that's
that
when
we
they
know
looked
of,
into it.
yes. So, what happened with that, I don't know if they had made the report or Job and Family
Job and Family
Services
started it.
had made the report. It doesn't, I don't think it states on there specifically.
John Family says that he disclosed to the foster mother that that something happened to him. Okay.
So yes,
He met with Deanna.
Simona's, yep,
Okay.
and Josie Wright, so which would have been the initial.
They talked to, and then they talked to the foster parents.
Yes.
Okay. But this was never, no criminal charges were ever brought, and this never.
You know, they never even called Brandon.
The only
Brandon
reason,
had to go up there to ask them about that because he was told it by our caseworker.
It says that you were interviewed.
Yep,
Yeah,
he
so-
was interviewed because he went up there voluntarily to the police department to see what was going on.
because I didn't know if
was with
they
them
were
that day.
just pulling my leg or something, so I decided to go find my own proof, and I went up there, asked them, they're like, yeah, we wasn't even gonna call you in, there's nothing here. But I just did an interview and questioned him some stuff, just to ask him, and he just said that all Mateo was saying was something about a monster and stuff.
Things
in
like
the
that.
thing,
You
yeah.
don't have to say anything to the girls. I don't want to do
One minute.
Okay. So, then you guys got together in August-ish, you said?
Yeah, we
August.
did beginning of
About-
September, end of August.
Okay.
But we weren't like, we were talking. We weren't really
Yeah.
dating.
Okay.
We were
So,
just like friends at that time.
at what point was made part of? I mean, did you then
She
enter
was-
into a
She
safety
was made part of it in January.
plan? Because you moved in together, or why?
So we had moved in together in November,
Okay.
and we had disclosed several times to the caseworker at the time, my daughter lives here. She was aware that my daughter lived here. And we had told them several times, my daughter lives here. My daughter lives with me. They had contacted my grandmother, and when they had contacted my grandmother to see if she lived with me, my grandma said yeah. Goes and back and forth with me and my grandmother because I was working. I left dad because he was very abusive at the time. So I was a single mom, and I didn't drive because I do have some medical problems, and I do have anxiety and PTSD from a couple car accidents I've been in.
Okay.
And I didn't drive for that reason.
Probably Heather.
So we would come, and she would keep it for 3 to 4 days a week, and I would take care of the rest of the week.
Okay.
And
Hi, I'm Erin Strasbaugh. I'm the GAL.
Hello, I'm Heather.
Heather.
I'm with Adriel.
Okay, got it. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
I get to sit with you today.
Well, good. That's fine. Fine with me. It's like how my chair just stays there.
Yes.
I thought she was
It's
when she was
special for
squatting.
I
you.
know.
I thought she was when she was squatting, and now I smell it.
Oh, you want blocks? You can play with the blocks. Okay. Let me just get this straight, and then I'm gonna stop asking questions. I just wanna know.
Yep, we gotta change diaper, but you can play with the blocks.
We'll get into the backstory of it,
Mm-hmm.
but when was she put in the safety plan?
She was in January.
January. Okay.
But that was the first time.
January 11th.
That was the first time.
Yes.
And then she came back home, and then they safety planned her again.
Why did she come home and go?
Just out of the blue, they said,
Job and
okay, the
Family
girls can go
Services.
home, and Job and Family Services took the girls from my house, put them back with them for 1 month, and then when they went to court, the judge said, no, the girls gotta go back. So then they called me from court asking me if I would take custody of her at that time.
Okay.
So then I took custody of her, and then a month or so later, then I took custody of Mary. But I couldn't figure out why did they put them with me for 1 month, bring them back home for a month, and then turn around and take them back out of.
Yeah, I'm only wondering if they didn't relate it to days, maybe.
So why would they let them come home?
And the Guardian Act let him, the old one, was aware of it at the time. And our caseworkers was aware at the time.
Okay.
And everybody was just like, oh, well, we didn't know. But yes, I also have that. And they have it in their records. But they were given back, and I signed all the paperwork for them to come back home. It would have been February 28th of 2024. And they were taken March 27th of 2024 at court hearing. So it would have been, I believe,
So they put him into a safety plan again.
yes,
Yes.
and then at that time they had given permanent or temporary custody to my grandmother.
Before that, I didn't have custody, it was just safety plan.
Okay. So let me just, I'm sorry, I just want to stick to one girl at a time. So girl have it. So was safety planned at first, January 11th of 24.
Yes.
And they went back home for about a month, whatever. And then she was safety planned again, or were you given temporary custody? It was another safety plan?
Well, it was safety plan, but at that time they had me do custody of both girls. First time was just a safety plan, no custody.
But, okay, so then a court hearing occurred.
Right,
And then
that's
you were
when
given
custody.
temporary custody.
Yes.
Okay. And that was March.
That's
Yes, March
24.
27th would have been of 2024. Would have been
24.
when Lori got the custody of Rosa.
And Mary.
No, came later. It was safety planned at that time. It's so confusing because Mary was safety planned at that time. Custody came maybe a
When
month
did
or two
Mary-
later.
Okay. When did original safety plan was January 11th.
Yes,
Then they went back.
yes,
And then they were re-safety planned?
yes.
Just
On
Mary.
March 27th. Both of them. I got custody of her the 27th, and she was safety planned on the 27th of March.
Okay. Because hers was tied in her case.
Yeah.
Hers was not. Hers was it's her own separate case.
Right.
And that's why.
Right.
Okay, I'm thinking. And then they did an adjudication,
Right.
And
Right.
said she was a dependent child.
and then that's when you
They
got
got custody, yes.
the custody. Okay, I've got it now. But I don't have the dates. So
I'm believing that was in
I
May.
got the order.
April or May, one of the two.
That would have been like,
So Meredith.
I believe, might have been May like 8th. It was at the beginning of May.
Thing is got temporary custody was awarded to Lori on what date?
It would have been,
That would have been about a month later in
May
April,
8th, maybe.
it would have been in
Early
May,
May. Okay.
about 2 months later. And hers would have been, I'm not quite sure the date particularly.
Yeah.
For her initial. If you need it though, I can contact
No,
them.
I'm just trying to put a timeline together so I understand. There's just lots of
It's all over the place.
different kids, different moms, different dads,
It's a mess.
different places where they stay. So I just want to keep it straight.
I don't know, I got a file like this thick of Brooke stuff, and I got like this thick of Mary. Everything I get, I keep.
Yeah,
Every single thing.
that's good.
Even to help me grow with I keep, you know.
Good.
Which she got moved up.
Did she?
Yes, they're gonna do her every
So
other
March,
week.
do you know the date in March?
But they're gonna assess her
I'm
for speech.
sorry, what's the date in March of 24 of the temporary custody to Lord? For
So she didn't get temporary custody of her until May.
yeah, I'm sorry, I kept saying March and
I don't know the specific date. No, I don't
No,
know.
May of 24 though.
It'd be in one of
I
them.
think it's like May
Things.
8th or
Got it.
something.
That's what I was thinking was May 8th.
That's what I'm thinking, I see the stamp.
That's okay. No,
Hey Alexa,
I can.
when was May 8th of 2024?
Wednesday, May
Yeah.
8th, 2024.
That
Yeah, it
would
was
have
a
been right,
Wednesday.
because it was
Right.
always a Wednesday
And
or
5 days
Tuesday
ago.
they have court for break. I do wanna let you know too, we did have our caseworker here yesterday,
Okay.
and they are saying they are trying to reopen this case
Oh,
of abuse again, because they're claiming that there was another allegation made,
okay.
as of yesterday.
By the same child.
Yes.
Okay. Keep me posted on that, okay?
Okay. It's every time, about 2 weeks to
2 weeks
a
before,
month
they always have something.
court,
new.
there's
It's
always
every
a new
time, every
allegation
time.
made.
It doesn't make sense to us.
Josie, the worker, is therapy or something back in January, and she said no. But then when we get paperwork, the paperwork said he started therapy in October. So did he start it in October or did he not have therapy?
Yeah, Fox.
Yeah, because the foster, when I did talk to Karen still until I got rid of her, when it happened, she said she was getting him in but never started it with him. But as far, fosters didn't have him till December.
Right. But
So-
they said he was doing it in October. In
So-
the paperwork it says.
So I don't know how that, I don't know. You have that on recording too. Them saying that.
Lori, how are things going with the girls at your house?
Real good.
Okay.
So I know that.
As
I
of
hang
yesterday,
up.
according to
Yeah.
So if I don't know the number, I don't answer.
some adults were around him the other day, and he was on his fours, like on his knees, like this.
Oh, are you
and
okay,
supposedly
Rosie? That
said
wasn't nice. Why did you throw
my
that?
daddy passed him
Meredith, are you
back, he gave
okay?
him candy.
Are you okay?
And it wasn't
What's your
from
last
any of this
name?
stuff. It was from past whatever. This was according to
Yep.
Amanda yesterday
It's
when she
419.
came.
So
At
they
the
aren't
first time.
saying it's happened at any of these visits, right?
No, it wasn't the
Because
visit.
that's-
She said it was the
Can I have
past that
your
we brought it
address
up.
too?
Yes.
But I don't understand because that don't mean anything. They
207?
don't. They're just making it sound like it's that. So
Mechanic
it's according to
Street.
them, they're gonna take it to them
Oh,
again, which
thank
they're just gonna
you,
close
Meredith.
out, and Amanda already knows they're gonna close it
Is
out.
that
So I don't know.
Brian?
They're really trying to push that. I don't know
So
what.
nothing
they're-
was stated as a new, when you
Thank
said
you.
a new
Go get some to
allegation, I
Daddy.
thought you
Yeah,
meant
we'll set up-
something
Go
that
get some
has
to
happened in our visits.
No,
Okay.
because she asked him. She was
Okay.
like, "Is it a visit or something?" She said,
They're
"No, it
always
was in the
Well, on
past."
the weekends,
Because some
they
dogs
go
were.
with their
Because he was on his knees or
grandparents.
something. Maybe he was doing some
It's a popper.
Just,
Oh,
yeah, just
sexual
kind of
looking, whatever. I don't know how to say what it is. Looking things, but
And then,
Okay.
I don't know
Well,
how
I
or
was just gonna
what.
say that I can vouch for the fact that you're never alone with him.
Yeah, and like I
That
told
would
her,
have happened.
you can always call me.
I told her, and I said
Whatever.
with the girls.
she looked at it. She's like,
It's a
because of straight up.
smooth-
And
and
her
my
thing
my
was
granddaughter's
having
19.
OnlyFans
She
and
lives
the
at
videos
home.
and all that. I said that's I
So
guarantee
she
where he has
works
any
with,
of these things. Plus,
youth
she's had
Christ
people in and out the
out of
house
Defiance.
with them
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
she
wait.
works with Elliot.
Even
Johnson.
even when I can get my older boys
And
to
she has the
vouch,
middle
even though they're not
school
old
work.
enough for them to probably
Okay.
even accept it. but
And like
I'm just
last
saying,
year,
I
she
just
went
wanted
to
to
camp
clarify
with
that.
her
Yeah.
and stuff. She's a
Okay.
cousin.
this was all of a sudden
Okay.
new
We're also
thing.
there
But
with you
as of
about 2 to
yesterday,
3
when we
times a
found
week
out.
She
too.
started this in 5th grade.
But look,
She did all through
it's literally
school.
like
She
2 weeks.
enticed it, and then she was a helper.
literally 2 weeks
Since
before,
she's
and
been
there's-
out of school,
oh,
she's
we
been
have this
doing
new
it.
thing.
But when the girls are able to go back home,
I just wanted
she's
to
gonna do
verify
online
that it
classes.
wasn't during the visit.
And
Any
then
new
Yeah.
allegations?
they're ready
We're
to
not
hire
sure
her,
where-
and they'll
Okay.
pay for her school.
Because
So
I-
just their
youth
new
book
thing.
curriculum.
Okay,
They took it
Because
to the police.
Elliot
Supposedly.
thinks so highly of
okay.
But they
Well,
probably aren't gonna call me because
Nobody else
last
stays
time they
like
never
that.
did.
Right.
I went up there to
And
find
then
out if
for
they
the
were
last
lying
year,
about
she's
even
coming to you.
reporting it or not.
And
Oops,
she
thank you.
goes to camp, and any outing they go, and she does it all.
Oh, good.
So she's at home to help me.
Yeah.
So
This is it.
it's smooth sailing,
Like
you
what's
know.
happening?
I
Just
do
see,
the
but she'll come back
cooking and
Monday
the
when we
cleaning
have
and
it,
the
because I have
laundry and
to leave and
everything,
she's not
and
gonna be
she
here
pretty
that
much
much, just do
does
some
with
of
the
this
girls.
and then
If she needs help,
the-
I'm there.
Yeah.
him
They
on Monday
sleep in the
since
room
Dennis
with
did
her.
this.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, we're on
Now,
Monday.
I talked to,
So she come back and see
Amanda
how.
about
That's,
not
that
next
is,
baby.
that would be
We'll
great.
soon, okay?
'Cause then someone else.
We need to
And-
wait for Mateo.
Amanda said that, she talked with, her supervisor, and they really
Here's your
didn't see
potato
that there'd be a
heads back.
problem, but it has to go through court. But what we've decided to do is make Raina's room just a nursery. And we're gonna put, you know, crib in there for the baby also, and then just get baby monitor. And then I've got a little room off the side, and Raina's gonna, you know, go in there. You know, when she wants privacy. Big bed, and her and I are gonna become bunkies. But we'll make the nursery her room that she has now, and then we'll just have the 3 cribs in there.
Okay.
You know, so if it works out for the baby to come with us, and,
Right.
but like I said, I'm not by myself.
Right.
Raina's there with me.
Yeah.
Now, I
So-
do have a question for you, if it could even be a possibility. Would there be a chance I'd possibly be able to stay like a week at Lori's house after my C-section? Because Brandon has to work, he's the only income we have. And I'm gonna be cut in half.
If it gets that far
I
to
think
have
that's
that.
probably, I don't want to tell you anything's not a possibility. I think that's probably a possibility. It's probably not going to be the other way. I mean, if you stayed there, that's probably more likely. I
Yeah,
would say,
that's what I'm saying, like
than-
me to stay at Lori's house,
Yeah.
because after I stayed there for a week,
Yeah.
and it was harder for me to take a shower and everything,
Yeah.
because with I was 16 hours up for dress labor, they didn't give me Pitocin, nothing, and I couldn't walk, I couldn't move, and then about 4 days after I had her, my legs went completely numb.
Oh no.
So I had to have nurses and everyone come in my hospital room, but he's our only income, so he'd be the only one working.
No. Yeah. It's certainly a possibility. I can't
Okay.
tell you. It's too early.
Even
for
if
me
it's
in
just
the
a possibility, because like I said, I'd be
Yeah,
there for a
it's
week.
too early in the case, and also the judge always has the final say. So,
Okay.
it would depend on her.
Okay.
Amanda said the only concern maybe was that they think it would be too much for me because of my age.
Yeah.
But like I said,
You have help.
Raina is right there. And then my 16-year-old grandson's there too. And he's a big teddy bear, and he, you know, lifts the girls up when Raina's at her youth stuff.
She,
Yes, but I've had him since he was
come here, Booker.
this age.
I know,
So
I know.
all of my
it hurts.
grandkids I had custody of
Then you
them.
might bum on me. Okay, thank you.
I've
That's a lot.
had custody since 2010.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah,
You're
but
you're
I
a good
didn't.
person.
I
It's a lot
didn't
of
care. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your blood.
I got distracted when you told me about that top paper that we were talking about.
Yeah.
They just raised new allegations or something. Who did you say said that?
Amanda, that would be our Job and Family
From Job and
Services
Family.
caseworker,
So
yes.
it's been reported.
Yes, so
I mean,
there,
It's not reportable.
So I just questioned it too, because the only time they see this child is under my supervision.
yes.
So
And-
it's something that's
She
way
had
past
not
or
had-
something.
Well, the same thing with the whispering. That's under your supervision also.
She had told us yesterday, and my grandmother could confirm because she told my grandmother the same thing, that there was a new allegation that Mateo was like this, on his hands and his knees, and that his dad would pat him on the back and give him candy.
Okay.
And
So
they thought that
they're
was odd
taking it
behavior.
to the police. And that was being taken to the
But
police.
I
And
think
she
it-
told Brandon that it will be taken to the police and that they'll get a hold of him in the next couple days.
But I don't know if you know, he'll get down on his
They're
hands
always
and
on the
knees,
floor playing.
and
I
he
mean,
barks
they're-
like a dog, ruff, ruff,
Yes.
ruff to people.
I can't
and I'm
say that
thinking,
there was anything that I can say
You
there was
would- I mean,
nothing.
you would have reported
Yes.
it had there been.
Yes.
And this is supposedly recent, but she said that she had to report it because
no,
it
that's okay,
pertains
just look
to
at
a
it,
prior incident
Okay.
Oh,
with Brandon. Which would have been
happening before.
the police stuff from now.
I hope you can see too, just like the interaction between the two at some point too. He said you're coming back Monday to
Yes.
see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
because he
Oh,
He is
Meredith, are you
so-
okay?
You good?
Gotta.
You good?
Was he
I think she was just moving in a seat.
Okay, right.
yeah.
Brandon, you
I
have to
have-
go to class.
Yeah, he has a court
placed
order
her
class.
till 5.
Yeah, so I do want to see them because I want to basically moved it for Thanksgiving.
Yep, we're gonna have it Monday instead of Thursday next week.
Yeah.
That's what her and I have talked. Mateo is not scared of him. He's not shy from him. He's hugging on him. He's loving on him.
He cries when he has to go home.
And so now it's to the point where, I mean, this has just been back and forth and back and forth. And y'all have, you know, like I already said, passed every single drug test you have ever been given from them.
I've been in my house for almost 4 years. Brandon's been here for almost 2.
Right.
He's working stably. I was on maternal leave and I had a note that I had given them stating that I was on leave for the duration of my pregnancy. And then given the fact that I had a C-section, common sense tells you that that's major surgery. That's 6 to 8 week recovery. Some cases it's even 12. And Job and Family Services had no problem saying, oh yeah, Maria given birth, but yet has yet to find a job.
Just pure ignorance. The level of ignorance coming out of these idiots' mouths is very, very disturbing. Very disturbing that they have that kind of power and they're all a bunch of incompetent idiots.
Well, my baby was 2 months on the 20th. I had started work on the 17th, right before 2 months, which means I was actively, right after I had had the baby, searching for a job because my first day at my job was April 17th.
Right. You've gone through all the motions. You've done, and the amount of classes and the amount of hoops that these people have families jumping through is just insane. I mean, you got parenting classes, you got the family intervention court, and then, you know, you got all the scheduled visitations and then all of the case plan appointments. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that they have you doing and jumping through, which y'all did on point.
And even has it in our case plan that we have successfully completed.
Yet 15 months later, like, I need y'all to realize and just, you know, take a moment to think that, you know, having your children illegally removed from your care for 15 months, I mean, almost a year and a half. I mean, that is just, it's with no evidence whatsoever. Nothing but a bunch of accusations that's coming from a foster family, which I think we should also point out right quick that
the foster father had disclosed that in the beginning that my husband's child was adoptable.
Yep. Oops. They fucked up.
They
told these foster parents, and you know, at this point in time, this was just a couple of months in of having this little boy, you know, put into the system and through this whole shit storm, you know, 2-3 months in, and you've got CPS telling this foster family, oh yeah, you can adopt this little boy. Like, what the fuck? Like, there's just no other words aside from that. Like, oh, so it seems to me from an outsider looking in, and I you guys have done a phenomenal job keeping track of all your paperwork and such. And I have read every word on every document. So I'm pretty familiar with this case.
And you can also see the consistency that we have, like, with the story and how it matches up. So, like, I mean, there's the proof that nothing's been fabricated, that what we are telling is the truth, at least from our opinion.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you've got, even with the amount of allegations that there were several allegations that were already debunked by the supervisors for the visitations.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you put 2 and 2 together, you try to, think that shit through. Okay, you got all these allegations and all of these have already been proven false. Well, what's the likelihood that the other ones are just magically all of a sudden, oh, these ones are false, but these ones are true? Like, well, I mean, come on.
Like, even let's not fail to mention how many times Brandon and I have actually asked them to subpoena someone to court, between like attorneys or Job and Family Services, knowing the fact that they have that prosecuting attorney in our case. They can. And I mean, if they're so desperate to know everything, like, there's no problem with subpoenaing these people.
Right. And I think another important fact that I think it's really, really important that we point this out is damn near everything that they are saying, that they are talking about and sharing, it's recorded. Freaking geniuses. They have recorded everything. Like, all of these appointments, all of these meetings, they record it all. So this isn't just hearsay. This isn't just their word against, these bad actors. Like, it's legit. Like, it's on record. You can hear the audio for yourself. And it's so easy to see that it's such utter bullshit. And they have used this to keep this family apart for over 15 months now. I mean, and that's just, with the little one, obviously the girls were, taken a few months later, and then, you were still cooking the youngest one. So, but for them to just go about the way that they did with doing any of this is mind-blowing.
Well, let's not also fail to mention that Job and Family Services says they're to preserve families and keep them together and keep them with kinship. If that's the case, why do we have 4 different kids with 3 different people? And yes, we are a blended family. So there is one sibling that is mutual to all of these children, yet they can't see her. And given the nature and the ill intentions that the foster parents, I feel like, honestly have, I wouldn't doubt that if they tried to do visitation with my child, that they'd hurt her, because she is my child, because they have a very close connection with the maternal grandmother for the other mother.
Yeah, they're besties.
And the second they found out I knew Spanish, they're like, oh no, yeah, it's a wrap. We won't talk to her. We won't anything. And it's to the point they can't even come and pick up my stepson from a visitation. They won't. They send their children or family members to come pick him up. Ever since the tension in the court had started, when the foster mother had stated that my grandma attacked her and the guardian ad litem was feeding into that, like, they won't even look at us. Because my grandma had obviously stated, she's lying. And I mean, all they have to do is call up McDonald's. I mean, I could call Jim myself. I could call him myself and ask for surveillance footage and see what actually happened. He's a good friend of mine. I don't know if they have audio, but given the fact of that day and the fact that the guardian, there's a lot on her too. But let's not fail to mention that she had led this foster mother into trying to say that my grandmother attacked her. And all my grandmother said was, please, 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 I am the child's temporary custodian. She has a suppressed immune system. Do not take her around a lot of people.
Well, she was really sick.
She ended up getting coronavirus and adenoid virus. So she ended up getting 2 things, to the point she even had a fever seizure. And then this incident had happened, and she just goes, I don't care. I'm pastors. Like, we're pastors.
I really don't like those people. I hope they watch this. I really don't like you, and I hope you go to prison, because that's where you belong.
If the Bible hits you in the head, then it should know that the Bible literally says to not be evil. Oh, I don't care what Bible it is, whether it's Pentecostal, Jewish, everything, not to get into religion, but it literally says in a sense, the golden rule is even in there.
Right.
To treat people how you want to be treated. And if you are a person of God, you should not be treating people illy with ill intentions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I think it's also worth noting that, and I'm kind of jumping ahead of ourselves here, but in one of the recordings, Lord have mercy, y'all are in for some serious shocks. So in one of these recordings, there's some backroom, questionable discussions.
There's some hillbilly bullshit.
Oh my Lord. So you've got the judge, Rachel Sostoy, the assistant prosecuting attorney, the guardian ad litem, Brandon's attorney. Like, they're all sitting back there just chit-chatting away, colluding, trying to figure out how they can get away with doing all this shit because I'm not really sure that's legal. But yet, again, here we are.
I was very surprised to see. Why? That's true. I should. I'm gonna try to accomplish putting her up there. So here's my thoughts. I think that she's somewhat worrisome. One,
It was
say no more.
12 was when the kid actually went to the hospital. I have a hospital note.
Oh, 12:12?
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about 12:10.
2:12 or 2:12.
That was a
Wednesday. Yeah, I sent the. I have a screenshot of the top of the hospital.
I've got that.
But I'll tell you, that is scary, that whole seizure stuff. My son did that. I know exactly what they went through, and that is a scary process. Do I believe that you go for another week? I think it was a good excuse also because she just didn't want to have the cruises involved. I think they all hate the cruises. She doesn't help herself either, Mrs. Cruz. Very matter of fact of her beliefs of everything. So here's the scoop. I think it's the agency. I mean, what all the law requires is that we have to do family placements first, right? So I think that I'm not really comfortable in doing these people, but they're already sharing time. I mean, you've got a temporary custodian that's already sharing time.
I don't think we knew exactly how much time it was until the new baby was born, and we went to the home and he wasn't there, and Lori was like, "Oh yeah, she's been at the grandparents' home."
But she has the right to do that.
Correct, absolutely. So.
But Lori, as the custodian, I mean, she gets up here and says, "I'm not the one that asked to have her released or removed." So, you know, so what are we doing? So why are we moving? If that's all she's doing.
And she has a relationship with her sister there. And apparently that's going on.
I think the agency is looking at long-term options. And I'm not sure that the agency thinks that Lori is able to sustain this long-term with the new baby. And
yeah, but the cruise, I don't think, you can't say the cruises they're gonna become legal custodians?
I did not file that motion for legal custody in anticipation of not knowing since I didn't think that it would be all these continuances and, everything, because I can't anticipate all that. That's why I didn't file it, because I thought I would kind of wait on the direction of the court on the 4th and then wait. I didn't do it. Now, I don't know, she's absolutely right. We have an approved home study.
I know.
For the release. I didn't file it because we weren't planning on moving them.
You have an approved home study. You guys have all allowed them to be part of it. I mean, how do you go back now and say that that's a family placement and it's not? No. And if there's orders in place that say Brandon can't have unsupervised visits with child, I think that order has to be in place.
I think that's what they told them, is that that Brandon can't have unsupervised.
But they can supervise it. But I don't know how we move to a non-relative.
So if I understand correctly, your inclination is to leave the child with Laura Garza.
Yeah, and then allow whatever.
And that's the end of the saga for now. I'm okay with that.
But the problem is long-term, I think you're right, long-term.
But you can't say Brandon's not gonna be a candidate long-term. I mean, he's not a drug addict, he's not violent, he's not a criminal, he goes to work, you know, he's got a lot going for him. Again, he's adult, but, you know, you can't start taking kids away from, you know, every adult in the trailer park.
Do we have to have an annual? Can we just have had the annual or can we just do
Yes, that was the annual.
I think keeping her with Lori is also fine. I just would have preferred the cruises over the roadies. The roadies make me nervous. She makes me
Well, I think Lori has to be told she is in charge.
nervous. But yes, I think Lori, and I think she was told that she was in charge toward the end of the very, very recent days.
Okay.
And so that's kind of why it's been in her care.
But she's got her hands full with a brand new baby.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And Maria's in the home now. Maria's living in the home.
It looks like she can't do squat. I mean, she can barely stand up, so she wants to go home. That's what she said. Want to go home.
Well, my first question was, where's the baby?
Where's the baby?
Let's not open that can of worms, all right?
She's with an approved babysitter, everyone. She's okay.
So you all have heard the same stuff. I mean, do you think that, is there any, I think long-term, that's just for another day.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay. And then so in this case, I think what we could do, we've got 10 o'clock, by the way. We could allow intervention in the case. I'm not interested in moving at this time. There's too much material still. What I understand is we've got to figure out a way to get, I don't know what to do because of all the disclosures that he makes. I know Paul's got a great argument. I know.
But the disclosures all come from, you know, Puerto Rican mama.
We cannot disclose the report.
I know, we all know it's from this crazy lady.
I'm not sure if your clients, if they want visits with her, then,
Yes.
because it's been very like sporadic. So let's set like actual like set up visits with them, because it's been, well, we can't do it this time, we can't do it this time.
Let's do that, and let's start that pattern underway and see where that goes.
So we're gonna do that today. We're gonna do that today. They'll get a set schedule for the elderly.
You all can do that. I'm not putting the table today.
All right.
We've got,
All right.
it's 10 o'clock. So, is gonna come back, because he's at a 15-month review, so it's not, we'll reschedule that one. But I think if everybody agrees, I'm gonna let Anderson come in on that too. I'll do that by motion to allow your people in on that. Then they'll get notice, you guys will get notice we'll set that for hearing, continue that 15-month.
Okay.
And then all those motions can come on for hearing. This one though, I think if we just, I'm gonna deny your motion.
I was like, please just make a ruling on it, so we.
Yeah, I'm gonna deny your motion. The status quo is going to continue. I'm going to grant bypass.
Can I just be out?
Well, what's the scoop?
She was supposed to be here today by Zoom, as late as yesterday. And I mean, I don't want to go into attorney-client communication, but I feel like I've done my job to.
So you want to ask to be released? I don't know if I can do that. Because what happens when she comes back then and says, my rights weren't protected? And you guys are all racist.
Well, half of that's true.
I'm going to keep you in, but I'm still going to grant the motion for bypass. And then you're in. I'm going to deny your motion. I can't because you didn't have the right to be heard.
Right. Withdraw it. I can withdraw my motion for time.
For Rosa.
Or, and just say to the court, we may refile at another later date.
And then I'm going to consider that to be the annual review. And that takes care of everything.
So we're not going back on the record?
Yes, we are. I have to do it.
Okay.
We do have this home study, if you want that, court.
I'm sorry, for whom? The elderly roadies?
Yeah, do you want us to file it or just hold on?
Yeah, I would. I mean, it gives me some.
Okay, if you want to order me to file it, I'll be happy to do that.
I'm gonna file it on the 10th, the 11th, during COVID.
Oh, God, that COVID, sorry, I just had to, I know when COVID was, so.
Yeah.
But then the governor of Florida has extended COVID.
Who was, I
Yeah,
don't
who was the
know,
least?
at the time, he was like the most open,
Yes.
like, Ron DeSantis was like.
And what's the fact that she's gonna be 88 have to do with it?
Oh, I thought that was perfect. She got her.
Hey, she's pretty good for her.
She's losing her shit.
It's a lesson to all of us. You don't want to be practicing law.
I talked to her, I mean, I will say, everybody's impression is not inaccurate. Her dates got mixed up when I was talking to her. But I do think she can care for the child. Like, she can care for the child, she just probably can't,
I watched her walk up here and then that's when I'm going, oh my. Because I mean, she's too. I don't think she can pick up.
I should have had the husband go on, because he's more calm.
He looked.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Want me to bring him back in?
Yeah.
We gotta finish this up. We're going back in.